All right. Welcome to a new episode of the D.Fos podcast. We are broadcasting live from Gorilla Cross Studios. Shout out to my man Quan on the boards. And today we have another special guest, Frantavious Dooley. What's up, my brother? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. How you doing today?
Man, good, man. Glad to have you, man. Take it back a little bit, man. I met we like to call him Quint. I know it's real. He said Quint's a family name, but I always known him by Quint. But we met at the church, man, New Antioch Christian Fellowship. It had to be about, man, it's been a minute, man. What, about 10 years ago? Has it been that long?
It's been longer than that.
Yeah, because it was before you married Liv, right?
Yeah,
okay. I did shout out to Liv Dooley, to his wife. She's been on the show, but I did they DJ'd their wedding. But I met Quint, man. He came through the church, man. Sharp brother, man. I was kind of drawn to him immediately, man. I liked his vibe, liked what he was on. We was fellow country people, you know what I'm saying? You being from Georgia, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, so it was a country connect already right there, man. And so we, over the years, we just kind of, chopped it up, stayed close, and we kind of, politicked on a lot of different subjects, kind of had some similar, theories and thoughts on different things. So this was kind of in the making for a while. We was talking one day, and I said, man, you know what? I forgot what we was talking about, what came up, but I said this would be a great, sit-down conversation. You know what I mean? So definitely want to welcome you to the show, man. Appreciate you, man, taking time out your day, man, and everything, man. So how you been, man? What's new with you, man?
I've been pretty good. I appreciate you inviting me.
Absolutely.
This is the first podcast that I actually been on.
Okay.
You know, I usually speak out on Facebook and stuff like that.
You do. I be checking your lives too, then, man. They go up, man. They be going up. I like you drop some real good information, some real good gems, man. You always popping on. I was going through a few of them last night, and I said, okay, I missed that one. You know what I mean? So so keep doing that, man. Keep dropping that, man.
Definitely.
First and foremost, man, where you from, man? Born and raised?
So I was born in Royston, Georgia.
Okay, West. Now, how far is that from maybe like Atlanta and all that?
So we about 2 hours. 2 to 2.5 hours outside of Atlanta.
Okay.
I'm a full-on country boy. I ain't no city boy.
Full on, yeah.
Full-on country boy.
Yeah. Sticks, man.
In the sticks.
Okay.
So I was born in Royston, but I grew up in H.A.R.T County, which is the town's right next door.
Okay.
I was born in Ty-Cobb Hospital, which is a famous baseball player.
I heard it. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Ty-Cobb Hospital,
so
man.
that's where I was born at.
Mm-hmm. Raised down there too. Now, when did you leave from down that way? When did you?
So 18. When I turned the month after I turned 18 is when I joined the military, and that's when I left. Joined the military. Went to Texas.
Okay.
Stayed there for a little while. Went through my training. Then I moved to Panama City. Then I went to Korea. Then I ended up here in Vegas.
Okay. Now what got you into wanting to serve in the armed forces, man? And you're Air Force, right?
Yes, sir.
And let me put some respect on his name. He's a retired aircraft weapons specialist from the Air Force. You retired, did your 20 years, right?
Did 20 years.
Man, you got in there and got out of that thing early, man, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Man, salute, brother. Salute, man. And so what got you into that, man, wanting to serve, man, in the armed forces? It's an honorable thing, first and foremost, man.
I would say it was 9/11.
Okay.
A 9/11.
So this was pre 9/11, like.
It was after 9/11 because I joined in 2004.
Okay.
But with everything that was going on with 9/11, the Gulf Wars and all that stuff like that. Then my dad. My dad is the real true reason for me coming in the military.
Okay.
So my dad.
So did he serve himself too?
He didn't serve. Well, my biological father served, but my biological father passed away 3 months before I was born. So
sorry to hear that, man.
My dad. I had to say, you know what I'm saying, salute him. He stepped into my life, been a man that I needed in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's the reason why I joined the military because after 9/11, he used to watch CNN, used to watch all that stuff. And I used to see on TV, see the missiles flying.
Everything going down. Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to be on the front line.
Yeah. You don't want to do no part of that, man.
I didn't want to do no.
Yeah.
But everybody was talking about the draft back then. So with everybody talking about the draft, I was like, what can I do? And that's when I found out about the Air Force, and that's when I was like, that's the route that I'm gonna go. Because if I'm gonna go in the military, I want it to be my choice. I don't want to be drafted.
Right, you don't want to be right. Okay, I feel you on that. Then what made you choose the Air Force as opposed to like Marines or Army and the Navy, anything like that?
So I have a lot of military family. My brother is actually he was Army Guard.
Okay.
And my dad was in the Army. He was actually in the Army and the Navy, from my understanding.
Okay.
Then my aunt, she's in the Navy.
Okay.
She's a Navy officer, retired.
Okay.
Her husband, my uncle, he's retired as well. But both of
a lot
them,
of family in the armed forces. Yeah. Okay.
So I used to go visit them during the summertime. And my aunt, she took me to the base. I went on tours and stuff like that, on ships and stuff like that, because I knew the Army and I knew the Marines. That wasn't for me.
Okay, you knew all that, yeah. Okay,
I knew I wasn't trying to be on the front line.
Okay.
But,
so
I
you
salute
ruling
them
out as you seen them, yeah.
Rule them out.
Okay. Yeah.
So I salute them guys for what they do, because they in the trenches. They in the real trenches.
They really are, huh? Yeah. Okay.
So as a kid, going to the Navy bases and everything like that, I went on the USS Cole.
Okay.
I was around 14 years old around that time frame.
Early, man. Yeah.
So when I went on the USS Cole, got to go see the bunks and all that stuff like that, and they was like, sometimes they make hot bunk or whatever. I was like, this ain't it.
Okay. You seeing it right in real time. It's saying, yeah, okay.
And salute to those Navy guys and ladies for what they do, because, excuse me, for being on a ship and doing what they doing to serve our country, they doing a lot.
That's a lot. And everybody got to play their part, man.
Everybody got to play their part.
Yeah.
So it's nothing bad to what they're doing, but I knew that portion wasn't for me.
It wasn't for you. Okay.
But I knew they was living a blessed life too, though, because I seen the benefits of how my uncle and my aunt then was living. Not saying they was always living lavish, but they was able to take care of home.
Yeah. And you put up some paper, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. And they work for it now. They definitely work for it, but they showed me a different environment of life. Okay.
And then, like you said, getting fresh out of high school, instead of being misguided and undecided, like I'm already making up my mind, I'm going to go and do that. And that's what led to you getting out early, too, because you got in so early, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, was your goal to do 20 and try to retire? Did you go in with that mindset, I'm going to do 20, or it just happened that way, or what?
So I'm not going to say it was necessarily a goal, but it was like, I'm going into the military. I'm finna go in and do what I got to do. And throughout my career, it was times that I thought about getting out, but my wife helped me with a lot of that. For us not transitioning out of the military, but then also getting to the point where I do transition, because see, you can win in the military if you go in and get your education.
Right, that's what I heard the biggest thing is, go and get an education while you're in there.
Yes. But if you don't get your education, you wasted your time.
Right.
If you didn't get your degree or you didn't retire. So I didn't in the first 10 years I didn't even have my associate's degree at that time. So my wife, through her going to college, I was able to see what student loans look like. I was able to see what that looked like. And seeing how that was, I was like, no. The military paying for this.
They paying for it, right? Yeah, they're
gonna take care of me. So it's some great benefits in it.
Yeah. That's the one thing about it. I know that, man. Because the time gonna pass anyway that you in there. So let me go and get my education, and I can make that transition, pretty smooth, man.
And as you get older, going through the military, one thing I would say, with the mindset, what do you find a job that pay for you to educate yourself?
Yeah, that's
pay you
true.
to get your pay. They pay you, plus they pay for you to educate yourself, to make you better.
You ain't gonna find that much. Yeah, you ain't gonna find that, dude. And they paying for it.
And they paying for it.
Yeah.
So you can't beat that.
Yeah, that's straight, man. What would you say is the biggest difference, man, being from the South and the West, culture-wise? Because say you came out to Vegas, what would you say some of the biggest differences are? We was talking about a little bit outside. I know you're getting ready to move, but what would you say some of the biggest contrasts and differences are in the cultures of the South and the West?
I don't think it's really a big difference. I think it's a big misinterpretation.
Okay.
Like you said, me and you met out here, and from being in Vegas, and my Vegas friends and family, I would say you see they have a lot of the principles of the South, because a lot of the people actually migrated from the South to here.
Right, yeah.
So learning that, and it may be, it's some small different because you living in a different city.
Yeah, absolutely.
But other than that, I think a lot of people from Vegas actually have some of the same principles and the beliefs of the people in the South because that's where they migrated from.
And that's where their people, how they raised them and everything. Yeah, okay.
So the food places, the good soul food, you got good soul food out here as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think we misinterpret a lot of things because we from two different locations, but when we actually come and have conversation we can find common ground.
Find some commonality. Yeah.
It's just you don't see no forms around here.
Right, that's true. that it is true. Now, do you still got a lot of family back down south too?
I have majority of my family is still down south.
Okay.
A lot of them live that way. Some people will look at it and they be like, "Well, you got away from home." I think sometimes being at home is so beautiful.
It is, man. It's peaceful, man. It is peaceful. When's the last time you been back home? I remember one video I seen when you was down there, I think in mom's backyard. You was doing something with the dogs or something like that. Yeah. So when was the last time you been back?
So we went down there between May, spent the summer over down that way.
I bet that was nice, man. Yeah. Bro, man, I bet that was nice.
When I say the peace, the peace of being in the country, where it's not as quiet as people think it is because you can see it, you can hear the bugs, you can hear all that type stuff like that. And just the cool weather.
Though, especially that. Especially like we went down there in the summer. If you left from here in the summertime and went down there, I know the humidity might be different, but that cool weather, man, that 85, 90 degrees as opposed to 115 got to be a difference, man.
It definitely hit
difference, man. Yeah.
And I would say I like a lot of people don't like the humidity, but I love the humidity.
I can deal with it. You know what I mean? I can deal with it.
I like it for my skin.
Okay.
Health-wise, all that type stuff like that. But I think the country, man, is such a peace. Because like I said, when I say I'm from the boonies.
Like to say, well, you got to take a dirt road to get to where we live or something like that, or like almost, or what?
So it's not a dirt road anymore, but it is.
They didn't got modernized.
They got a little modernized. But when I say we in the country, like people look at my mother and be like, "How do you stay all the way down there by yourself?"
Really? Because shout out to moms too, man. Shout out to moms. Yeah. Is Kelvin Dooley? Is that your brother?
That's my big brother.
Okay. All right.
That's this dude right here. Well, you talk about him, man. That's my big heart.
Okay.
As we get further in discussion and everything, I would say that's the man. That's my safe place.
Okay.
So that's
now he still lives down there.
He's still well, he's in Virginia Beach now.
Okay.
So he's in Virginia Beach doing his thing. Matter of fact, I talked to him before I came. He's out serving today because he got multiple restaurants.
Okay.
So he's doing his thing, doing that.
Okay.
But I can't just say him. All my big brothers. So I got 5 brothers. One passed away.
Okay. What number are you? Where you at in the
I'm the baby out of everybody.
Okay.
I have a brother in Detroit named Fernando. That's my heart too. Because all my brothers pour wisdom into me.
Yeah. And especially you being the baby, like you all getting it poured down. You know what I mean? Like that's good, man. You got a good bond with a man, and that's a beautiful thing. Who's the oldest?
So Kelvin is the oldest.
Okay.
The one that's closest to me is my brother that's in prison, my brother Vet. And still shout out to him because one of the most amazing thing about him is even from prison, he taught me how to be the man that I need to be.
Even from there.
From there. Yeah. One of my uncles, he taught me a good lesson. He said, would you be where you at today if your brother never went to prison?
Wow. That's something to really think about, man, huh?
Because my brother going through his challenges made me grow up.
You seen what he was going through.
I seen what he was going through.
Okay.
And one thing I love about my brother is he stand on business.
All the time.
And what I mean by, and I ain't talking about like trying to be a Mr. Bad Guy. He take his charges.
Okay. He took it like a man and just said, okay, I did it. I'm going to own up to it.
If he did it, he took it like a man and he didn't blame nobody else for what he did.
Yeah.
Now the last circumstances of him, you know what I mean? It made me recognize some different stuff about him. He took it on the chin, but at the same time, though, the streets say he didn't do what he did, which I don't know the truth because I wasn't there, nothing like that.
Yeah.
But for him, I would say, man, I love you. Keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because God got you covered. Because
right.
as long as he keep believing, he's gonna get where he need to be.
Yeah.
And God put you in the situation for a reason.
He did.
Because he wants you to be closer to him.
Yeah. And sometimes, through our pain is our understanding. You know what I mean? Sometimes we don't get in touch with him until we have to. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And be like, oh, okay. And God is like, now do I got your attention? You know what I mean? And sometimes it has to come to that. So big up for that, man. Let's talk about some of the other ventures you into, man. I know From The H.A.R.T BBQ.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when did you start that? That's your kind of your catering barbecue company, company, son?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a catering business that where I do barbecue. I haven't been doing it lately because we've been preparing to actually move away.
Yeah, but I did have some of it, man. You had the smoking. I remember you was slanging the dinners and all that, man. So shout out to that, man. What got you into that, man? How'd you get into that part of it?
So I was raised by multiple men.
Okay.
One of the men that had a very big impact in my life early is my uncle, Uncle Cedric.
Okay.
Back home, he used to have a barbecue business called Satchmo's, him and my Uncle Melvin.
Okay.
So my uncle used to be a big-time drug dealer back in our area.
Okay.
And one thing about him, I didn't take the route that he took. But one thing that I learned from him is business. He was a business. He was a business-minded man.
Okay.
And man, that's why I created my barbecue sauce, because him and my Uncle Melvin, seeing them do certain things together. Because those was the men that I had as an example of a man.
That was the picture you seen.
That's the picture that I was seeing. Because
Okay.
as I would tell people, I got multiple fathers.
Right, and I think every man probably do. Somebody that gives you a little bit here, gives you a little bit there, but it all matters, man. It all
Definitely.
matters. Yeah. I know Alan James, man, was talking about the Georgia peppered peach barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
And I seen that. I said, man, I missed that one, man. I didn't catch that one, man.
So I'm gonna have to let you get a bottle. So we got a I guess you could say mild, because some people don't like pepper or whatever it may be.
Okay. But the peach kind of gives it a balance, kind of like the sweet heat, kind of like
a sweet heat. When I say that Georgia pepper peach,
yeah.
Man, when I say I got one there,
yeah, that's one right there.
I got a winner.
Man, that's great. So that's been a passion of yours, man, huh? The cooking and stuff, man, huh?
I think sometimes when we see the men around us that we look up to, that's something that we actually pulls us in. So seeing them, that's where I picked that up. So I wanted to be more like them in a way, business minded, and I picked up a passion that I seen, because I seen the love around our family that came around us cooking.
Yeah, cooking and getting together, chopping it up, eating it.
Definitely. Because to this day, my family, my aunts, my uncles, my aunts and my uncles, uncle or whatever, to this day on my mother's side, just about every month they get together. And
is that right?
Yes.
We need to get back to that, man, huh? Like doing that as family, as people, man. I think that's a missing component, but that's good, man. And they probably throw down, I'm sure, when they get together.
Oh man, everybody can cook.
Yeah.
My aunt Deborah, is my virtuous woman.
Okay.
That's who I look at her as, my virtuous woman. When I say she got one of the best macaroni and cheese.
Is that right? Man, that's great. And what was that other stuff you made? Was it chow chow?
Chow chow.
Yeah, the chow chow. Yeah, I remember that. That was screaming. Yeah.
So my mama, so I got a couple bottles at the house. My mom actually made it when she came out here.
Okay.
So mom come out here. Mom can cook. Mom can really cook. Also my grandmother, she can cook. We still have our grandmother around. She turned 80 this year.
Okay. Bless her heart, man. Bless her heart.
That's one thing I look forward to about moving back home, because now we can take those traditions that they had in cooking and let's make this a tradition for the family, teach the kids.
Yeah.
Because it's some of these traditions that we don't need to lose.
We don't need it. And then, like, if it's on our watch, we gotta carry them over and pass them down to the next generation. Like, how they gonna know? You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. Speaking of kids and stuff, man, salute to you, man. I know you just had how old is your baby now?
So my baby, she's 6 months.
6 months. Okay. That's a blessing. That's a beautiful thing. What's her name?
Her name is Selah.
Selah, yeah. Like the book your wife wrote, right?
Like the book my wife. So I can't talk about my daughter without talking about my wife.
Right. Of course. They go hand in hand.
Go hand in hand. Yeah. My wife, man, talking about her, man, I want to say I appreciate her, man. I appreciate her very, very much, especially what she's doing with our daughter.
Yeah.
Because my wife, when I say she's doing such an amazing job, and I also had to say I thank her for following my lead.
Okay. That's important, man. You know what I mean? That's important, man.
Especially navigating in this world, what we're going through right now.
Uncharted territory. We ain't been here
territory.
before, so you got to try to, trust the man that he's gonna lead us right too.
Definitely. And I asked her to do some hard things. So I had to appreciate her because I asked her to do a hard thing by coming home, coming off the job.
Okay.
Because people look at it and say, well, two paychecks is better than one. Is that true?
Is that true? Right.
Because
it all depends. Because if you, like back in the day, you could survive off one income, but the 2-income households and families now, the mothers pulled away from the job or the corporate aspect of it, so you missing something from the family component. So I know it might have been a hard call at first, but I know you kind of want to get back to traditional values and stuff like that.
Get back to traditional value, but also there's power in position.
Yeah.
And I don't think nobody can teach my daughter better than my wife.
Right. Now,
my wife,
firsthand.
My wife was an excellent school teacher, beautiful school teacher. And I don't see how she don't took classes and took students' grade scores up. So if she could do that for a 20 personnel classroom, what you think she's gonna do with one?
What can she do with a one-on-one situation? I mean, it's the perfect thing. And I know she worked, with the children at the church and all that, so it just makes sense, man. It really makes sense. And then you would hate to be like, if you got a sitter or somebody else raised, they're not gonna give her the same that your wife would give her directly. You know what I mean? Directly, man.
And this is why I say, this is the reality I came to for me. 2 paychecks ain't better than one. Because if I got to pay somebody else to do everything else that my wife can do better.
Right. You might as well.
I might as well bring her home.
Yeah, that's true.
And I do have to count my blessings with me retiring from the military. I retired from the military. I'm a disabled veteran as well. So I do have my disability and I do have my retirement check. So that was a blessing. And I do plan on going back to work. But I think my wife she's the center of the household. We got to get back to the Bible. The Bible say the wife builds our household.
Yes.
So I think my wife is the center, and that's why I say it's my job to build. I would say it's my job to build her up, and what she's doing.
Absolutely.
Because even in this world today, women in the house get looked down on.
Yep. You think they don't get as much credit or respect because they're in the house? You saying?
I think men respect them. I don't think women respect a woman that's in the household.
Okay. But hey, to tell the truth, man, you holding some real weight if you in the household. I mean, you holding it down. There's no clocking out from that. You know what I mean? Like that's not no 9 to 5. But I know what you mean, and that's funny. Their own peers don't respect it then.
I think it's because we live in a world today of the fear of divorce.
Fear of divorce. Okay.
So we live on the what ifs.
Okay.
Instead of the what can be.
I agree.
So we get to the point of what can be, and also as man, we look at it and we empower our women who are in the home. Because some things my wife had told me as of lately. I ain't gonna say I always been where I've been ready to go. She was like, well, if I'm gonna be at home and I gotta teach our daughter, it's gonna be some things I need.
Right, of course. Of course.
And I understand that. As of right now, we're in the transition period because I'm trying to get back to the point where I can go back to work and go back to work and all that stuff like that. So it's a transition period. So it's a give and a take.
All day.
But as a man, I got to make sure I give her the tools that she needs to be able to be successful.
That's true. Set her up right so she can do what she need to do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So it's a provide and produce.
Fatherhood taught you thus far, man? What is some of the lessons fatherhood has taught you so far, man? Patience,
Patience. So in the beginning, it taught me how much I love my wife too.
Get a deeper, new found love for her.
Definitely, because of the situation that we went through in the beginning. I know we talk about the emotions of women or what women may go through or the traumas that they go through, but nobody talks about the trauma that a man goes through.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So speaking on that, seeing my wife going through labor, I don't think it was for me. It wasn't trauma. I look at it all as blessing.
Okay.
And I think that's an issue in our community too. We look at too many things as trauma and not as a blessing. But seeing my wife actually go through the birth of our child. So my wife wanted to go in and do everything natural. She didn't want to do an epidural. None
of that. No anesthesia. None of that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But she ended up having to. We had to transition as we went along to get things going. So she had to take the Pitocin. She took the Pitocin to increase the labor and all that stuff like that, induce labor. Then she also took an epidural. But everything happened right on time.
And did it? Everything just lined up right? Yeah.
Everything lined up right. But in the midst of that, because me and my wife, neither one of us bid on medication, but seeing my wife look at me with them eyes, them big bold eyes.
You can't, that's something you'll never.
Them eyes can be loving or them eyes can cut you.
One of the two.
One of the two. But that day, seeing my wife laying in that hospital bed, and my wife looked at me and she said, I'm sorry. And I had to look back at her and say, baby, you ain't got to apologize. I don't know what you're going through.
Right.
I can't feel what you feel.
Yeah. I don't think you want to feel that neither.
Nah.
Man, you know.
So after all that, everything happened perfectly because now she was able to dilate as she should dilate. Then my wife pushed for when she got to the point where she could push, she pushed for almost 4 hours. Man.
That's rough, bro.
When I seen a warrior, I seen the warrior side of a woman. Because that woman pushed. I'm talking about good pushes too.
I think women have a different kind of strength. You know, men look at we looked at as the physical strength, but women have an emotional strength that's unmatched. You know what I mean? That we don't have. We just don't have it, man. So
definitely.
That's something. So you actually witnessed that and seen a whole nother level of her, man.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so seeing that, and seeing the birth of our daughter, because my wife did have to use force. They did have to use forceps to pull my daughter out. So knowing that women go through tears, all that stuff, then they had to send my daughter to the NICU. And being in a situation, you don't know who's going to survive. Yeah, you don't. Because
it could go either way.
It can go either way.
I feel you on that. And that's a tough reality.
It's a tough reality.
Yeah, it's the reality.
Then also seeing my wife, hearing my wife call me and said, Mama Jennifer had to help me, which is my mother. And thank God my mother had training. She was a CNA. But my wife passed out twice because my wife told me to go back to the NICU with the baby. Because I asked my wife, which you want me to stay with you or go with the baby?
With the baby, yeah.
And some people think I'm crazy for this, but I love my wife more than I love my daughter. I don't want to see nothing happen to my daughter, but I really don't want to see nothing happen to my wife because
either one.
Because we can create another child.
Right.
I can't create another Leah.
Right. That's true. That's true. That's an interesting way to look at it. You know.
So going through that, I'm sitting in the NICU and all that stuff like that, and man, it was days that I was doing what I was doing because my wife had to have a blood transfusion and all that stuff like that. So, but
birth is pretty intense, man.
It's pretty intense, very intense. Yeah. And I say all this to say, man, my wife mean a lot to me. And going through that situation, it made me. I would say the trauma. I ain't gonna say necessarily trauma, but one of the things is just worried about those two. Just worried, yeah. Because man, after a few days, after everything starts settling down, I just grabbed my mom and I just cried. So with that saying is, we both going through this together. So we go through things together, and I think that's very important.
It is, and then you grow through those literal growing pains. You go through that together, and you growing and you learning more and have a different respect and appreciation for each other.
Yes.
You know, I really think so, man. I really think so.
So I would, baby, I love you. Appreciate you for everything that you're doing, especially with our daughter, with our family, and especially how we growing right now in our marriage. Because we done been through some stuff, man. We done been through some
marriage is work, man. Marriage is work. I think a lot of people get it, confused. They think when you get married that, okay, that's it. We here. That's just the agreement to say we great walk this thing out. I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, but we gonna agree to work this thing out together. You know, I'm gonna accept your flaws, you accept mine, and we just gonna deal. We gonna walk it out together. You know what I mean?
I think the struggle of walking it out is we think it's about our will.
Yeah.
See, everybody talk about a 3-strand cord, but they don't talk about God's will in the marriage.
Yeah.
That's the only will that's matter in the marriage.
Absolutely.
Because once your wife get rid of her will and you get rid of your will and you focus on his will, now you're going in the right direction.
Yeah. Getting rid of each other's and just let's solely focus on this God's will and see what we do. I see you brought the good book with you, man. That's a good one too, bro. That's a nice one too.
Because I don't know where we going. Well, all we gonna go for is the conversation today. But man, when I speak, I don't want to speak from my own will. Because, excuse me, a lot of people will look at the day of when you stand up and you speak on some things. That he's being a misogynist. He's being this. He's being that.
Yeah.
And that's why you when you hear me talk about when I was talking about my wife, the way that I talk about her, because that's my priority.
That's your priority. Yeah, absolutely. So, number one.
When I go into the good book and I'm talking about the way God look at stuff, not the way that I look at stuff.
It's all in the word.
It's
right
all
there.
in the word.
Yeah.
You can't call me a misogynist.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes,
and it's not your opinion.
It's not my opinion.
It's the word.
It's the word.
Yeah.
One of the big things we got to realize as men is the authority that we have.
True.
And that's why it's some things that I don't believe in today. And I know this probably gonna hit some people. I don't get into women's right and I don't get into men's right. It's neither one of them.
Neither. Okay.
The reason being is I believe in marriage right.
Okay.
Because how do we get to the position that we need to be if one person have more rights than the other?
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of like a unbalanced thing.
It's an unbalanced thing.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I would say today, some people will say, I have people that talk to me about some stuff and they'll be like, well, what about women's rights? What rights do a woman have what rights do a man have today that a woman don't have? These are some of the questions that I had to ask myself. What is it?
Women's rights.
If you look at it, a woman probably have more rights than a man today.
In this time. In this day and time. Yeah, in this day and time. So, why do you think that is? Do you think that's a society thing where we've gone at?
I think it's more of a spiritual thing.
A spiritual thing. Now, what about, so say like in the western part of the world and the east part of the world, we talking about like, the West is America, but if you're talking about Asia, Africa and all that, the man and woman, it's a totally different thing. Women, they like quiet, they in the back, they subdue. What do you think about those two different aspects of culture in the western part of the world and the eastern part of the world? Because like the women, they wear face coverings, they covered up, they can't say nothing. Like it's a whole different mentality.
When you misunderstand somebody's culture, you'll misunderstand the point behind it. And when we can make somebody look oppressed when they're not truly oppressed. Yeah. Because no one can make anybody do anything. Now, doesn't mean that you don't have the situations where people are oppressed. So I'm not taking that away from anybody who does go through oppression, because some people do have
they really are. Yeah. Okay.
But then some people just want to play victim.
Yeah, that's true. They get more attention like that.
They get more attention like that. And what I would say in some areas where you see is a difference is, and it comes back down to will. See, a lot of people want freedom, but don't understand the freedom that they want is not free.
Yeah. It's a price to pay.
It's a price to pay. Because I can ask for freedom from God because I can follow my own will.
Right.
But that's not going to get me into heaven.
That's true.
So if God requires discipline from us to get to somewhere, there's going to be some discipline required, regardless if you're a man or a woman. And I think that's where we have to get to the point, because as the scriptures say, we fight not against flesh and blood. We got to get to the point where we stop fighting against one another.
I think so.
Because there's power in discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So it's times that I think to myself, what is discipline?
Mm-hmm.
It's obedience.
Yeah, it's obedience. Yeah. Whether you want to do it or not, it's the discipline of it. Yeah.
But what is obedience?
Mm-hmm.
Obedience is following the direction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have to have some type of directions
Right.
to be obedient or have discipline.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, we don't want to follow nobody's direction.
Right.
We want to do everything that we think we should be able to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One, we got to stop living on the past.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I even say this for our culture
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. Especially, I can't speak for other people's culture, but I can speak in the African American community.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you get away from God,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be something that you go through.
Mm-hmm. Anytime you get away from Him.
Anytime you get away from God, it's going to be trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something I sit back and I think a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Even slavery.
Mm-hmm.
What was the cause of going into slavery?
Mm-hmm.
Europeans didn't go to Africa and just start stealing people.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
We know that it was people in that area that actually caught slaves because we look at the history.
Yeah, we know. Yeah.
But we also, but if you're going to look at slavery, you got to also look at the Israelites.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why did they get into the bondage that they got into?
Yeah.
Because they
disobedience.
Anytime you step out of the covenant of God, you
Mm-hmm.
walk into something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm afraid that America's finna walk into something because we're walking away from the covenant of God.
Yeah.
Because
you think now, you talking about modern times, we get walking?
Modern times now. Because, and it's men and women,
Mm-hmm.
when we walking out of that covenant,
Mm-hmm.
and like we talking about women going through some of the things that they're going through,
Mm-hmm.
it's walking out of covenant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you
can't
leave yourself uncovered and like you just open for all kind of stuff. What they say, like you can make the choice, but the consequences sold separately.
Yes.
You know, so
and it's the same for us men. It's not just for women, but because we had to get back in the covenant. Covenant is the key to all of this, to being successful in all this.
Yeah.
And it's gonna come with some direction.
Yeah.
That's why he tells us obedience is better than sacrifice.
It is, yeah.
Because when you follow those directions, I can cover you. You may not understand the journey, but I understand the outcome.
Right. He knows the end, but we covered the whole time.
Covered the whole time
yeah.
because I see what you don't see.
Mm-hmm.
You can't
down the road.
Because you can't say he's the beginning and the end and not realize he see what you don't see.
Mm-hmm. The beginning, the end, the middle, at the detour, like
he know it all.
Yeah.
So that's some of the things that we really got to get into covenant, understanding covenant.
Why do you think we get out of it though? What do you think happens? What do you think it is? Getting tired or just don't want to do it? What do you think?
See, the devil will sell you a dream. Everything look pretty, but all of it ain't gold.
Right. He makes it look attractive, make it look good. Yeah,
he make it look real good, but the ending ain't good.
It get you off your path. It'll look good, but
Because you got to look at it. What did the devil want to do? He wanted to take God's position. Because he thought being in that leadership position was pretty.
Yeah.
But you can't move like he moves.
You can't move right. You can get the position, but you can't do that.
Because he's omnipresent. The devil's not omnipresent.
Straight up.
So you can what you think you understand that leader's going through, you don't even know.
I have no idea.
Because you don't, as people that's in a leadership position, see, a lot of times, the reason why we want the leadership position because we want the control. But leadership and control is two different things.
Yeah.
But we bind them up together because leaders they have a position what we consider control, so it does look like they having control, but they doing what's needed.
What's needed to be done? Yeah.
Control in a way that you not doing where you looking for your own benefit. That's not leadership.
Yeah. A self-serving benefit.
It's self-serving benefit.
Yeah.
So when you look at the devil, he's self-serving.
It's all about him.
It's all about him.
Yeah. Ego and all that. Yeah.
God gives more than anybody else. A leader gives more than anybody.
Yeah. They give more of themselves. They put the people first.
They put the people first.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we going wrong today is because we don't know what leadership look like.
In this day, we don't know what it look like. Yeah.
We think somebody giving us what we want is leadership.
Yeah. Giving us what we want.
But this is the thing. Would you give your child everything that they want when you know it could damage them?
Right. They're not ready for it. They're not ready for it. No, absolutely. Not ready for it at all. So, you don't know what comes with that. It's a responsibility that comes with that too.
It's a responsibility that comes with it. And that's where we really got to get to, man. Where our leadership is really truly caring, serving others to the point where it's not about us. And we have these words: you only live once. Look out for yourself.
Yeah.
But most people who look out for themselves never satisfied.
Yeah, they true. It'll never be. What they say: leaders eat last. They eat last. They job is to feed everybody else, and then they get a plate at the end. But you got to put the people first, man.
And and that notion, I think it's hard to see leadership because we only see what we do. Just like I can sit here and I can get kudos to my wife up here, but I don't just need to give her kudos when I'm in front of people. I need to give her kudos behind closed doors.
Right. All the time. Every time you get a chance to.
And I can say I failed at that. I haven't always gave her the praises that she needed outside because I don't always know how to celebrate you.
Yeah.
My celebration is, okay, you did a good job. My celebration is making sure that I'm coming home, bringing taking care of the household.
We look at it different.
We look at it different.
And you learn as you go. It's like, marriage and all, that's like on-the-job training. You picking up the information as you go along. It ain't like I had it figured out beforehand. So you got to give yourself some grace on that. I didn't know. You know what I mean? I would have implemented that. But we're going to pause for a minute. I'm going to come back. I'm going to ask you something else. We're going to get into a couple commercial breaks. We got two sponsors for today's show. The first sponsor is the Memory Booth. It's a video. It's a memory booth service where you can take pictures at any event, any occasion, kind of document it. And then we have another one that's FINA African Hair Braiding. If you're looking to get your hair braided, looking to get retwist or whatever, we got two sponsors for today's show. So we're going to get into those commercial breaks. And we'll be right back with my guest, Frantavious Dooley. So y'all sit tight. We're going to get into these commercial breaks, and we'll be right back. Providing our photo booth services for all celebrations and occasions. It's thememorybooth.com. Let us help you celebrate those special moments, your birthdays, corporate events, family reunions, wedding receptions, and any other thing you might think of that you want to not only live the moment, but master the moment and capture the moment. Thememorybooth.com. Now booking. FINA African Hair Braiding, located at 3925 North Martin Luther King, specializing in all types of braids, twists, locks, and other braiding hairstyles. Conveniently open 7 days a week. So stop in or call to make an appointment today. All right, and we back here on the D.Fos podcast with Frantavious Dooley. We just getting into the meat of the conversation. So we was talking about marriage and all that. Now, a question I want to ask you now is, what do you think is the difference between marriage in the modern era versus the traditional values and era?
I think men and women value their position.
Mm-hmm. They value their position?
They value their position.
Okay.
Men value being men and women value being women.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't try to cross the lines.
Mm-hmm.
And they understood working together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that what you talking about in the traditional aspect?
Traditional
okay,
aspect.
Okay.
I think we talk about the horror story more than we talk about the blessings.
Yes. Yeah.
And because what we would consider successful marriages,
mm-hmm.
those people don't have to tell their stories.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because they living in the moment of their family.
Okay.
They living in the moment of their environment because
mm-hmm.
they're focused on each other.
Yeah.
So the people that's going through the horror story,
mm-hmm.
it's easy for them to talk. So they look like the majority when they actually the minority.
Okay. They look like it. Yeah. It's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
Okay. I got. And so the modern era has got kind of. What do you think led to that? Do you think it was the rise of like, I don't know, the woman kind of coming up, or what do you think it shifted it from the modern era, like the values? What do you think would contributed to how? I mean, of course, nothing's gonna stay the same, but it's not the traditional values you kind of got away from. You would say?
I think we allow spiritual infiltration.
Okay.
It looks like it's happening in the physical, but it's killing in the spiritual.
Okay.
If we look at it, you telling women you'll give them more benefits if the man is not in the house.
Yes.
That is a spiritual attack upon your family.
Yeah, to destroy the family.
To destroy.
Yeah.
And in that, I would say us as men, we don't understand what protection really truly look like.
And covering. Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is, look at modern men today. When we talking about, well, we provide, we protect, we do all this. But how often do you have to protect a woman from somebody running into your household?
Yeah. How often? Yeah, it ain't like back. It ain't like
That's not happening. So what kind of protection do a woman need? She needs spiritual protection.
First and foremost.
We have to understand warfare. And this is the way that I would explain it. This is why I would say I don't believe Eve was wrong, but she wasn't totally wrong. And this is why I believe God actually got onto Adam.
Okay.
Because when you see the enemy was speaking to Eve.
He went to the woman first.
He went to the woman first.
Okay.
Because one, you can come and attack me. Most men look at it when you get attacked by somebody, it's like, oh, that's just me. But when it come down to your wife or your kid, it's a whole different ball.
It's a different level. Yeah, it's a different level.
But Adam forgot his authority.
Okay.
Instead of him going to the serpent and saying, hold on, no, you don't need to be telling my wife this. Some conversations you got to cut off.
Yeah. Shut them down. Yeah.
Some situations you don't even allow them to form because if you let's take the serpent out of it. I'm never going to leave my wife in a room with a man where they can just have a one-on-one conversation.
Right, because you're leaving her uncovered.
Because I'm leaving her uncovered.
Yeah.
Because he can be slick at the tongue. What was the serpent? He was slick at the tongue.
Yeah. And women, pause right there, women are fascinated by what they hear, men by what they see.
What they see.
Yeah.
But you got to stop it for she don't even have to hear.
Yeah.
So now if Adam steps up, and sometimes because of
So you think Adam dropped the ball?
I think he dropped the ball on that one. Because God gave him the word. He didn't give them the word.
Yeah.
He gave him the word.
So it was his authority and his responsibility to cover that.
Because when we look at the scriptures, Adam walked in this garden with God when God gave him his responsibilities. He didn't walk with God, Adam and the woman in the garden.
Right, it was
to
him.
tell him it was him.
Okay.
So first, you got to understand your responsibility. Once you understand, and this is why I would say, I say the 3 R's: relationship, responsibility, reflective.
Okay.
So, one, we got to look at marriage. A man's supposed to reflect Christ in the marriage.
Yes.
So first, you got to understand your relationship with Him.
And you got to have a relationship. Yeah, first and foremost.
When you hear God talking in the garden, who He's talking to the whole entire time? He's talking to Adam.
Talking to Adam. Yeah.
What did He give him? Responsibility.
Responsibility and authority.
Yeah. So now you supposed to reflect me. You didn't reflect me in the garden when the serpent is talking. Yeah. Because I told you not to eat from this tree. Why? Because I gave you that authority for anybody who said they could, you're supposed to say you can't. You can't, yeah. So let's take it today. Most men be like, well, women run their mouths. Sometimes you just got to say the word. Now you got to go in the spirit.
Yeah, you got to go deeper. And
sometimes you even have to go as deep as, because when you go into Ephesians chapter 5, it's talk about a man being able to die for his wife and all that stuff like that. Is it a physical death? And I'm just showing you how I think.
Yeah.
Is it a physical death?
More of a spiritual death.
It's more of a spiritual death. And not necessarily, I ain't gonna say necessarily a spiritual death. It's more of dying to your flesh.
To your flesh, yeah. That's what I mean, right? Okay, yeah. And that's daily. You daily got it, yeah.
But even more for your wife. And the reason why I say that is your physical death not gonna mean anything, because you shedding your blood is not going to be the same as Jesus shedding His blood, because He already done that.
Yeah, okay, I got you. I follow you.
So now I really just got to get to the point where His blood done covered everything. Now, but I got to get myself in the spirit. So I had to take myself to the point where I die to my flesh.
Right. Okay.
She can be running her mouth. She can be doing whatever she do. But I have the authority in my word.
And I got to die to the flesh. What I want, what it wants me to do. Yeah.
But when we say authority in our word, that don't mean I had to speak it to her. When He created the heavens and earth, did He speak it to anybody? Yeah. He spoke it. So now when you speak it, your words have power. But do you believe in your words to have the power to make change without you speaking to the person?
Yeah. Without you even saying nothing to them. Yeah.
Because sometimes, when I say this, I'm talking about me. Sometimes when we speaking to the person, we cause more conflict.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Because when you look at God is spirit. So He spoke from the spirit into the spirit realm. So sometimes as man, we dying to our flesh because we want to be to a point where we can speak into the spirit realm. Because now when we speak in the spirit realm, it still becomes real. Yeah. I don't have to speak to flesh for it to come real.
Speak to the spirit first.
Speak to the spirit first.
Yeah.
So you don't have to speak to the person for your words to have power. You just got to speak in the spirit. Yeah. But you got to be in the spirit. That's why you have to die to yourself.
And that's a daily thing.
And that's a daily thing.
That's a tough thing. I think that's the foundation for all of it, though.
And fasting is a key to that. Fasting is a key to that.
Denying yourself. Fasting,
denying yourself.
Yeah, praying. Yeah.
It's really getting out of your will. Like I said, you're going to hear me say will majority of this conversation.
But that's really what it is.
That's really what it is. Because that's all it is. Getting out of your will. And standing on what God
wants you to
stand on. Yeah. It's just some people not teaching. I would say you hear some people teach, they only teach one side of it. Because
they don't teach the whole thing.
They don't teach the whole thing. You can't teach a piece of a scripture and think you teaching marriage. Right. You got to teach. You can't speak to the woman and think that you teaching marriage. You got to speak to both.
You have to. I think you have to. Yeah.
You can't say, men, you need to love your wife as Christ loved the church, but you can't quote the scripture, before that.
Yeah,
When
like
wives
sort of give them the full context of it. Yeah,
give them full context.
Yeah.
Because when you give full context, now you move into a place where change is really being happening. So let's go to we can go to 1 Timothy chapter 2, where most people use where a woman's supposed to be silent.
That's big. That's big. And that's one line.
That's one line. But let's talk about what's before that. What do she supposed to do in her silence? See, we don't teach. See, that's why
it is big. What does become before that? What comes? Let's look it up right quick.
Let's bring that out, man.
Yeah, I'm curious. I know it's. I just can't recall it. But what does come before that?
And see, that's why we supposed to be, as men, if we're going to be the priest of the household, we got to know how to put our wives in position, not to put her in her place, put her in position.
It's a big difference.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference. Huge difference.
I probably could bring it up fast on my phone. Matter of fact, I'll do that.
Is that 1 Timothy?
1 Timothy chapter 2. In 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 1, it tell you, it say, I exhort, therefore, that first of all, supplication, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men. How you gonna tell a woman be silent, but you ain't telling her, baby, I need you to intercede for me?
I'll tell her the whole thing. Yeah.
Because the thing is, show her where her power is for you.
Gotta show her. You're doing her a disservice not showing her where her power is. Yeah.
Because if I'm asking my wife to be silent, I may be in a place as a man where I can't take your words where I can formulate them right now. Because sometimes as a man, you trying to hear just as well.
I'm trying, yeah.
So sometimes men are following blindly. So the question, and we'll say, well, it seems like the blind leading the blind. And we think it's a negative thing. What's the power of a blind person? They hear. They hear.
You're using a different sense now.
You're using a different sense.
Yeah.
What the guy say? My sheep know my voice. For me to be, sometimes for me to follow direction more clearly, because when I see everything, if I see everything, it's easy for me to get lost and see where I think I should go.
Yeah. But if I'm hearing,
I have to hear his voice so I can follow.
Okay.
So
Come on, man. That's a sermon, man. I'm feeling you on that one, bro.
So it's a power of being blind. But guess how much power I get by following Christ, by hearing his voice, and you interceding for me.
Okay. That's how it's supposed to go. Yeah.
So it's power in your silence. But what we saying, we got to be careful how we saying things, because we'll tell women, well, God says you supposed to be quiet. But you ain't giving her no duties.
Right. Just to be quiet. That ain't,
It ain't no power in there.
Yeah. That's true. That's real talk.
Because what we got to look at it say, whosoever finds a wife find a good thing and find favor in the Lord. Why is that wife favoring? Because a woman ain't necessarily favoring. A wife is favoring.
A wife, right. A wife, yeah. Big difference.
She's favored because she's in relationship with him. A woman can't give you no favor and she ain't in a relationship either.
Yeah. It just, it ain't gonna work.
It ain't gonna work. So when we looking at all this stuff like that, once we start to see the power of each other and we interceding for one another, man, what do we be?
That's powerful.
So when we looking at this modern world today, I believe this true enough. The word independence is the devil.
Independence, yeah.
Ain't nobody in this world did nothing independent.
Right. And you a fool if you think you can. If you are, yeah.
We over here shooting a podcast, but you shooting a podcast, you got to engineer.
Yeah, you got to have every component of it. You got to have every component.
You got to have every component of everything working together.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as an independent woman.
Right.
Because guess what? If you have something go bad, you got to call somebody.
Yeah.
So let's stop diluting the power of the man and let's stop diluting the power of the woman. when you start diluting the power in each other, you are actually diluting the family.
That's big. That's big.
So
That's big.
it's some things that we got to really get to the point where we look at. And one, we got to understand the chain of command.
Yeah.
The chain of command is powerful. And we can go to 1 Corinthians for that. One, the reason why your power and your intercession is so powerful is because as a woman, you have God on your behalf.
Yeah.
Because he's telling you to intercede for him. So he's saying you can come to me and talk to me directly.
Straight up. Yeah.
Guess who's over man? Christ.
He's over the man.
He's over the man.
Yeah.
So and if you really truly a husband and you're really trying to follow Christ, you don't want to steer that woman in the wrong direction.
Right. And because that's gonna come back on your leadership.
You're gonna be held accountable.
Yeah, it's gonna come back on your leadership.
So when we understand the change, me being in the military, I take a military mindset to a lot of the stuff today. When have you ever seen a general go down to an airman?
Right, never. You don't see it.
And tell that airman to pass up what he want that leader to do.
Yeah, you don't see that.
When you skip the chain of command, and God understands us better than anybody. That's why he held Adam accountable the way that he did. When you skip the chain of command, it caused a breakdown and it caused confusion. Because now you have man looking at God and saying, God, how do you put me in this position, but you don't want me to withhold, you don't want me to walk in this position?
Yeah. That's right.
He said he's not the author of confusion.
In no way.
But you got to realize, as a woman, just because that's the way it is, it doesn't mean you don't have a voice.
Yeah, I agree totally, man.
That's why we got to look at what the enemy does. The enemy comes to try to take the word and switch it up to the point where he can call damnation.
Can wreak havoc, man.
Wreak havoc.
Yeah, wreak havoc.
Because why do you think he won't come and try to switch it up for you, but he'll try to go to Jesus and switch it up? And he's supposed to be the living word.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful of how we take in information. And we got to stop assuming.
Yeah, 100%.
We live in a generation today, we assume. We assume, oh, this is what went on. Oh, this is what's going on in their marriage. This is how they're living.
You don't know, really don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
If you're not in somebody, if you don't have a camera, even if you have a camera, if you don't know what's going on behind closed doors, because people make facial expressions that have meaning to them.
Yeah. You don't know. You really don't know what's going on.
You don't know what's going on, so you gotta stop assuming and thinking that you know. And we have people that does a lot of assumption. And this is one thing I would tell people who are not married: don't speak into nobody's marriage.
Don't speak into it.
Don't speak into nobody's marriage. Don't speak down upon it. Don't do anything. If God ain't gave you a word to give to that person, don't you speak into that. Yeah. Because you could be causing a curse on your own family.
That's true, man. That's true.
Because when you live in a world of assumption and you speaking from feelings, you could be speaking on something that you don't know.
Most time you are, man.
And that's why you have so many people, even in the pulpits, they talking one-sided. Well, man, you supposed to be doing this for the woman. You supposed to be doing it. How you know that man ain't doing it?
Yeah. How would you know? Yeah. You have no idea.
You going off what somebody said. But why do we always take the woman word first?
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy.
And I give you this. My mom, it was a while ago. My mama told me, she said, Quint, you look like you angry.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you dealing with some spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, I'm not necessarily dealing with no spirits.
Mm-hmm.
But can you handle what I'm finna tell you that I'm dealing with?
Mm-hmm.
See, nobody wants to look at the man and say, this is what he's saying he's dealing with.
Mm-hmm. Some real stuff he's dealing with.
It's some real stuff that he's dealing with, but nobody want to validate that because some people don't want to validate that because it hurts them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're gonna be hurt, man.
But the thing is, we have a lot of things that's going on in our communities where we got to be able to hear each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like feelings. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I still had to be at a point, and I'm not great at it, where I can listen to my mother and I can listen to my wife.
Mm-hmm. Gotta be. I
don't necessarily have to validate what you have, what you may be feeling, but I do have to acknowledge it.
Acknowledge it, right. You ain't gotta like it, but you gotta acknowledge it.
Gotta acknowledge it. And
I
I do need to take time and go and think for myself and pray about it.
Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing.
We'll take somebody what somebody feel or whatever they're going through and say, oh, they wrong, they this and they this and they that.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go and intercede? Because God may show you something that you done wrong in the situation.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Real talk. But man, we might have to continue this, man. I told you we might not be able to get through everything. Great conversation, man. We're gonna wrap this thing up. Anything you want to drop before we get up out of here, man?
Put your family first.
Mm-hmm.
Put God first in your family.
Mm-hmm.
Be willing to give up your will for your family because it's not about you.
Right.
It's not about man.
It's a bigger purpose.
It's not about man and woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's about us being an example for our children. You can only be the perfect example in God's will.
Mm-hmm. Amen. That'll work, man. Hey, well, man, I appreciate you, Frantavious. I like to call you Quint.
Yes,
Shout
sir.
out to the family, man. Shout out to Liv Dooley, man. God bless you, your daughter, your marriage, and everything you got going on, brother. Definitely might have to have you back, man. It was a lot more we wanted to get into. I knew we would. Just a lot to cover, man. A lot of ground to cover, man. But I appreciate you, man, coming through the D.Fos podcast. Shout out to Gorilla Cross Studios. Shout out to my man Quan. To the next episode, to next time, the D.Fos podcast. We out of here. Appreciate you, my brother.
Appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely.